A famous house in the city next to our city, located 4 kilometers to the east. It's a terrifying house with so many roads and mazes. You only pay $20 to enter. This is what my friend told me about the House of the Infinity, and his eyes were widened with horror, and he advised me not to go to it. I asked him why. He answered me saying, no one has ever entered this house and has returned from it again, because there are many roads in it, and whoever ventures into it gets lost and never returns again. But out of my curiosity and my love for adventure, I didn't care about my friend told me, and I went there. I entered the house and found a box hanging beside the door, and above the box there was a sign written on it, put $20 and go from the first room to the 8th room, and if you succeed in leaving, you will get $500. I smiled and put the $20 and went to the first room. It's very funny. Hanging from the ceiling, some dolls and spiders like a zombie, coming from here and there. I went to open the door to the second room, and I faced a lot of fog that made me see nothing. Suddenly, I saw rats running around. What is this? Is this house really scary? I have only seen some funny things that children aren't even afraid of. I went to the door to the third room. When I entered it, I found a bed in the middle of the room, a rocking chair in the corner, and a lot of shadows that shouldn't be here. Wait, I never see my shadow. This is the shadow of the chair and the bed, but not mine. Here, I felt something hidden was happening. At the time, my courage left and I tried to exit and go back the door I came from. To my amazement, the door was locked and there was no option to advance but to advance to the fourth room. The fourth room was completely different. Rather, it was nothing in it at all. Frightening and depressing darkness. I haven't feared the dark all my life. But this horrific darkness has something different. I began to listen because I saw nothing and I was completely blind. But suddenly I heard a murmur. I was sick, but I tried to turn. But turn to what? The whole room is dark, and I realized that something was awaiting me in the darkness. Suddenly, a very strong light shone in my face. I could see the door to the fifth room, and the humming and whispering sounds were louder and more brutal than before. I set off in the darkness where the knob was on the fifth room, fell into the arms of the fifth room, not leading to where this room would also take me. The fifth room wasn't like the rest, but it looked like a jungle. Yes, a jungle that has a lot of trees. I could see the trees above my head as if they were endless, and there are some of the small trees. Suddenly, I felt some insects crawling on my body, my legs, and my arms. I tried to keep it away. I just felt it crawling on my body, but I didn't see it. So I lay on the ground, trying to shake it off my body. But I didn't success. So I kept crawling, trying to find that damn door, but I never found it. Suddenly, I heard the same murmur I heard in the fourth room. I looked around, but I didn't see anything. So I extended my hand to grab the branch of the tree in front of me, trying to get up from the ground to discover that I had pulled the doorknob of the sixth room. which was covered and hidden by trees. And here I am now in the sixth room. Well, the sixth room wasn't better. It looked like the third room, the same bed and chair, but with correct shadows this time. There isn't any shadows, only my shadow and the shadow of the bed and the chair. But where is the damn door? All my life, I haven't suffered from any problems or mental disorders. But now, I realize that there is a door. I don't know where it is, but I came from one even it was hidden. I started scratching the wall with my fingernails to find the knob and get out of here. Suddenly, a monster in behind of me. I don't know what it was, but it's like a huge man with curved arms and with the head of an animal. I started to feel his breath on the back of my head, but no, I won't turn around. I'm telling myself I must get out of here. I won't die with this monster. Then the monster started to shout that I will perish with him in this room. I caught a glimpse of a triangle that looked like the number 7. I began to press it hard. The monster started to scream to deactivate me. Then everything was over with opening my eyes to find the door in front of me, written on it, the 7th room. Here I am passing through it without the monster that suddenly disappeared, and I don't know where did he go, but I just want to get out of this room, and I don't know what awaits me in the 7th room. The 7th room. What is this? Did I get out of that house? I flew out of Joe. I'm tired physically and mentally. I drove home, thinking about taking a warm bath and good sleep. I entered the house and found my cat on my bed. I patted its shoulder. It roared and hit me. It hadn't done it before. Anyway, I went to take a shower and then went out to eat. During wandering around the house, I felt something strange. I am constricted and I don't know why. Shocked by what I found. My parents were lying with their limbs severed and scattered here and there. Then their heads were cut off and placed over their chest, and the stranger, they were smiling. I started looking around me. What is this? A door that written on it in blood, the 8th room? What is this? Am I still inside that damn house? As for this house to end? I crossed over my parents' bodies and I am expecting nothing more in the next room. I opened the door exhausted. I am in the 8th room, but it's like the 3rd and the 6th rooms. A bed and rocking chair, but this time there was someone who matches me. He was crying and bleeding not to hurt him. I headed towards him, but how do I hurt him? I tried to find the door, but when I looked under the chair, I found a knife, and I looked at the someone who matches me and found number 9 on his chest. I sat on the ground, and while I was sitting, the place suddenly plunged into deep darkness. I stayed like this without any reaction until I found a light coming from a unknown source. I started heading toward it until I reached the curtain. I removed it. Well, I found the end of the house. I looked over the box in which I put the $20 when I entered and found an envelope with my name written on it. I opened it cautiously to find $500 with a paper congratulating me that I had reached the end of the house. I smelled as I walked out of the door of the house, and I smelled as I drove my car to my house. And then I smelled as I saw number 10 on the door of my house.